All right, let's get right into it. If you're building products with AI, you're not just a product manager anymore. You're basically running a small economy. And in this new AI economy, there's one currency that rules everything: the token. In this explainer, we're going to break it all down. So let's be real for a second. This is the question that probably keeps you up at night, right? You launch an amazing AI feature. Users love it, usage spikes, and then you see the bill. Suddenly, your operational costs are just skyrocketing. It can feel totally unpredictable. But here's the thing, it really doesn't have to be.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll get a solid grip on what a token even is. Then, we'll pop the hood and see how they're actually made by tokenizers. After that, we'll talk about the price tag, what really drives the cost. And then the best part, the playbook for actually controlling those costs. Finally, we'll put it all into practice with a real-world example.
All right, section 1. First things first. We have to understand the currency of this AI economy. So what on earth is a token, and why is it the single most important metric you need to be tracking?
Think of a token as the Lego brick of language for an AI. It's the smallest piece of text a model works with. Now, it's not always a whole word. It could be a piece of a word, like ing, or just a comma. But here's the part that really matters to your budget. Every single thing you do with an API, from the question you ask to the answer you get back, is priced per token.
Okay, this slide, this is your new best friend for quick estimates. It takes that abstract idea and makes it really tangible. For that quick, back-of-the-napkin math, just burn this into your brain. One token equals about 3/4 of a word. So a 100-word chunk of text isn't 100 tokens, it's more like 133. These little rules are absolutely clutch for forecasting costs on the fly.
So we know what a token is, but how does plain old text turn into these tokens? Well, that's the job of a tokenizer. And here's a spoiler: different models use different ones. It's a pretty clever process, actually, often using something called byte-pair encoding. It's like a word game where the system finds the most common letter pairs, merges them into one token, and just keeps repeating that process.
And yeah, because different models are trained on different stuff, they have their own unique tokenizers. For a long time, Claw 100K base was the workhorse for models like GPT-4. But the new hotness, the one used by GPT-4o, and the next generation is O200K base. And it's just plain better. It's built to handle a way bigger vocabulary and different types of media, which makes it much more efficient.
And this number right here shows you why that matters. Just by switching to a model that uses the newer tokenizer, you get an automatic 4% efficiency boost. The same amount of text costs you 4% fewer tokens. Now, that might not sound like a lot, but trust me, when you're running millions of API calls, a 4% discount is a huge win for your budget.
Okay, so we've got a handle on what tokens are and how they're made. Now for the million-dollar question. Sometimes, literally. What do these things actually cost, and what makes that price go up or down?
This is maybe the most important concept for cost management. Not all tokens are created equal. You've got your input tokens. That's the prompt you send to the model. And you have your output tokens. That's the new text the model generates. Think about it. It takes way more brain power or computer power to create something new than it does to just read something. And the price definitely reflects that.
And just look at this, using GPT-4o as an example. You pay $2.50 for a million input tokens. But for a million output tokens, that'll be $10, please. It's a 4 times price premium. So as a PM, one of the biggest levers you can pull to control costs is simply managing how much your model is allowed to talk.
Now, tokens are the star of the show, but they're not the only actors on stage. The model you pick is huge. A top-of-the-line model costs way more than a smaller, faster one. And don't get caught off guard by platform costs. If you're on a big cloud provider like Azure, you've got to tack on another 15 to 40% just for things like support and data fees. These are the hidden costs that can really sneak up on you.
Okay, now we get to the fun part, the actionable stuff. This is the optimization playbook. How do we take everything we just learned and actually use it to drive our AI costs down?
And just to set the stage, let's be super clear about why this matters. A 10 or 20% reduction in token usage isn't just a rounding error. When you're operating at scale, that kind of savings is massive. It's real money you can put back into building your next great feature.
Let's run through these tactics. Number 1, and this can be a huge win, is model routing. Don't use a Ferrari to go to the grocery store. Use a cheaper, faster model for simple stuff. Number 2, prompt engineering. Just be clear and concise. Cut out the fluff. Tell the model exactly how long you want the answer to be. 3, caching. If users ask the same question over and over, just save the answer and reuse it.
This can save you up to 90%. 4. Batching. If you don't need an answer in real time, group a bunch of requests together. And finally, look into RAG, which is a smart way to give the model just the specific piece of a document it needs, instead of the whole thing.
All right, let's bring it all home. We're going to apply all these concepts to a real-world scenario and see exactly how the math works out.
So picture this. You're a PM at a fintech company. You just launched a new feature that uses AI to explain complex UPI transactions in simple terms. Users love it. In fact, they love it so much that it's being used 100,000 times a day. So, what's the damage?
Okay, first, we need to lay out our assumptions. We've got our daily volume, 100,000. We've measured the average call and found it's about 100 input tokens and 400 output tokens. And we've made a smart product decision. We're using the cheap and fast GPT-4o Mini, where input costs 15 cents a million tokens and output is 60 cents.
And now, let's crunch the numbers. Over a 30-day month, that adds up to 300 million input tokens and a whopping 1.2 times billion output tokens. Now, the input cost is pretty much a rounding error, just $45. But that output cost, remember that Forex premium? That comes in at $720. So there you have it. You add it all up, and the total operational cost for this one popular feature is $765 every single month. This isn't an abstract number. This is a real cost you can take to your finance team, use for your P&L, and use to justify any time you spend on optimization.
So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. If you use the playbook we just talked about and found a 20% optimization, that would save you over $150 a month on this one feature. Now think about your own products. Go look at your dashboards. Where are you going to find your savings?